Today I'm going to my friend's house, Bill Terreiro, and he's gonna prepare a delicious Louisiana bread pudding. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm visiting my good friend, Bill Terreiro, and he's gonna be cooking some
Louisiana bread pudding.
Yes. So, do you want to talk about a little bit about that recipe?
Sure. You know, Louisiana bread pudding is a famous recipe, and it's actually New Orleans bread pudding. And bread pudding is a very traditional dish in Louisiana, going all the way back to the 1300s. That people would use old bread scraps and save them and make a dessert with them to avoid, you know, throwing away old bread. This gradually evolved to adding mixtures such as milk and custard and other flavorings into the pudding to give it more flavor. Louisiana bread pudding is famous because it carries all the traditions of the Creole tradition with African, French, and Spanish flavors. So that's what we're going to make today.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go to the video now. So now Bill is going to show us all the ingredients that is needed for our delicious recipe.
Right, well the beauty of this recipe is it's very simple. There's only 6 ingredients and we can make them very easily with no fuss and with minimal dirtying of the kitchen. Okay, so our ingredients are white bread, just simple sandwich bread, 16 slices. We have butter, 80 grams of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 can of evaporated milk, 4 eggs, and 270 grams of sugar, and 2 cups of water.
Great.
Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is cut the crust off of our bread. We don't want any of that brown crust on our bread. All right, so here's our bread. This is exactly what we want, nice and light. We're not gonna let anything crush. We got lots of air in the mixture there. All the crust is off. Now we're gonna go on and make our custard. And I like to use a technique which basically prevents dirtying as many appliances as possible. So we just use everything in a blender. Okay, so in order to make less fuss and no muss, we do everything using a scale, which makes everything easy for you and prevents you from having to clean the measuring dishes. So I'll put the blender on the scale, we'll zero that out. Okay, and then we'll add 500 grams of water, approximately. Then we'll zero that out. 270 grams of sugar, or 1 1/4 cups of sugar. We'll zero that scale out. There we go, 266 grams, 270 grams of sugar. Then we'll add our 4 eggs. Thank you, Homer. 1 can of evaporated milk. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. All right, then we'll take our blender and just give it a nice stir. And this also adds a little bit of aeration into the mix. Okay. Now we're going to pour our custard over our bread. Now a lot of times people take the bread and they stir it into the custard. We don't want to do that. We want that bread to stay nice and full of air. And we're going to let that bread soak up all of that custard.
It smells good already.
Yeah, it sure does. Now we'll take our butter and cut it into small cubes. And and put it on top of our custard. And just lay our little cubes of butter over the top so it melts into the custard. And that's it. Now we go into the oven. We bake this at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. So about as long as it takes you to have dinner. Okay, just put it in the oven. And ready to go.
There you go.
All right, folks, we're back to make the bourbon sauce, okay? The bourbon sauce you can make ahead of time and just warm it up just before you're ready to serve, or you can make it while the pudding is in the oven. So, you just take a regular saucepan, and we're gonna add 165 grams of Caro syrup, or half a cup. We're going to add 50 grams of butter, and we're going to add 150 grams of bourbon. Okay? And we're just going to mix it up. Bring it to a boil to get most of the alcohol burnt off so it's not too astringent. Hi folks, we just finished with dinner and the bread pudding is ready to eat. Let's check it out. Look at that, it's so fluffy. Wow. It's doubled in size. The butter is just oozing. It's crusty on the top. It's ooey gooey in the center. And we're ready to have dessert.
All right, can't wait.
Okay folks, we just had dinner, so it's time for dessert. We're serving up our bread pudding. Okay, so if you listen to it, it's kind of crunchy too.
It smells delicious.
Nice and light and airy Louisiana bread pudding. We'll put some whiskey sauce on top of that.
Wow.
Delicious. Let's get a bite of that and see what it tastes like. The top is
Tom,
crunchy.
Eat it too.
Have a bite, Tom.
Come on, Belen. Let's see if this is real.
How was that,
It's
Tom?
hot.
Oh wow, perfect. Oh my goodness.
Sweet, crunchy,
Crunchy on top, sweet.
moist,
in the middle.
taste of bourbon, a little salty. It's amazing.
Let me try now.
I usually just put more bread in it, and I was following the recipe because I want to make sure it didn't. And look, there's a whole bunch of liquid in the bottom. So
That's good though.
So I think we need to increase from 16 to maybe 18 slices because the original recipe doesn't call for taking the crust off. So when you saw how much crust I had, so I think it's.
My God,
it is very hot.
Did you burn yourself? See, that's probably the best. That's probably the best shots in the video right there. Have you? Was she in the frame when she did that?
I think so.
Because that's when you look the cutest, when you're doing all those faces.
it's very good.
Is it hot?
That's a very good, the bourbon sauce. Delicious.
Great. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for making this delicious dessert.
Yeah, very good.
Wait, thank you so much for watching us. I hope you come back. If you like the video, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Until the next time, goodbye. The Louisiana recipe has an option to add 1 cup of shredded coconut. I went home and made it with the coconut and was even more delicious. Thank you, Bill, for coming into my channel.